Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. So today's Sunday, and we're going to take a look at really quick what's going on with Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're both up a little bit right now, but they are trading sideways. So we're going to take a look. We're also going to take a look at the dilution that happened last year in 2022 for the top 6 miners. So we got Marathon, Riot in there, CleanSpark, Bitfarms, Hut 8, and Hive. We're going to take a look what they diluted based on exahash growth and Bitcoin mined. Okay. So as always, you guys know the drill here. Not financial advice for internal only. Do your own research. Don't fall for scams. I'm invested in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. So let's take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. So Bitcoin right now is at 27,828. It's up about 1.24% right now, so it's not too bad. We're looking at the daily chart right now. We can see that Bitcoin's kind of trading sideways. It's in this kind of box here that it's trading in. You can see here between 27,000 and roughly 28,345. We're kind of trading in that box right now. We were down yesterday. We were down Friday. We are up a little bit here today on Sunday. We'll see how this is going to play out. Right now, I'm not seeing anything major that's going to change things for us, but we can see here on the 4-hour chart that the RSI has been coming down. We can see here that we are at 52 right now. Last time we were at the same price prior to that was back up here roughly, and you can see that the RSI was much higher. So we are having a little bit of a pullback on the RSI, which is kind of good, I think. That kind of gives us a little bit of room to run up here. We'll see how Monday is right now. But right now, it's looking okay. On the 1-hour chart, we're seeing that Bitcoin has peaked here a little bit, kind of high here in the last couple of hours, which is a little concerning that that's happening. So at that point, it peaked at roughly 28,187. It has fallen down on the RSI back down to 55. And last time we were at this range, we were right here. And price at that point was actually a little bit higher than we are right now. Excuse me. So that kind of leads me to think that we might fall a little bit more before all is said and done. Okay, but we'll have to see how this is going to play out. We'll just have to wait. Next, Ethereum. Ethereum is up 1.23% to 1,765. On the daily, you can see here it kind of followed us along with Bitcoin. It was down yesterday, down Friday as well. It's up a little bit today right now. The daily RSI is looking good. It's coming down here. Price is still kind of in the middle range here, not too bad. 4-hour chart, you can see that the RSI is at 50 right now. Last time we were right around here. At that point, price was about the same. So it's kind of trading sideways on the 4-hour chart. 1-hour chart, we can see it did the same thing as Bitcoin, kind of peaked up here, came back down. It's now at 51. Last time we were over here on Ethereum, price was a little bit lower at that point. So Ethereum is looking a little bit better than Bitcoin right now is, okay? So that's it for those two. We'll see how this is going to play out over the remaining of the weekend. Tomorrow is Monday, obviously. We'll see what happens with the markets open and everything else. We'll see where we go. We'll also see if we have any more bank closures or anything else, bank concerns, but we'll see that tomorrow. Next, let's take a look at the network hash rate here. Let me refresh this really quick. We can see here that the 7-day average has definitely spiked after we had that new all-time high reached on the daily. So the 7-day average right now is at 348 million terahashes per second. So that's our new all-time high as well on that one. And that's kind of following the same trend line you can see up here that we've been creating ever since right around, this was back in January, and we've been kind of trending upwards. Now, if we look at the 1-hour chart as well, we can see here that it actually came down a little bit here. So it came down to 337 million terahashes per second. Our peak was 398 million terahashes. So that was a big addition there that we had from the bottom here of 313, went up almost, 85 million terahashes. That's a lot. That's basically, if my math is right, I'm doing this in my head right now, it'd be like 8.5 exahash getting installed, roughly. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on it, but the trend is going to continue to go up. Miners are getting installed, which is good, but it also is bad for the miners because they're making less on Bitcoin once the network hash rate increases, difficulty increases, and all that. Okay. So that's those two things covered. Let's take a look at the dilution that we had in 2022. And here are the numbers that we have for it. So I took CleanSpark, Bitfarms, Marathon, Riot, Hut 8, and Hive. Took the numbers that they reported back in fiscal year ending of basically 2021 December. These are the numbers that they provided. And then these are the latest numbers that they provided at the end of 2022. So we're using those, and then we're looking to see how much they diluted in that year. So CleanSpark was at 41.4 million. They ended the year with 71.7. So that's a dilution of 30.2 million shares. Bitfarms had 194.8 million. They ended up with 224.2 million. That's 29.3 million. Pretty close to CleanSpark, right around the 30 million mark. Marathon had 102.7 million. They ended the year with 145.5. That's 42.8 million shares diluted. Riot was at 116.7 million shares. They ended up the year 167.7. That's 51 million shares. So that is the highest dilution that we've seen out of those guys. Hut 8 was 169.5 million. They ended the year with 220.5. That's 50.9, pretty close to Riot. And then we got Hive here at 69.3. They ended the year at 83.7, so that was 14.4 million, the lowest out of the bunch. But Hive also did a reverse split of 5-1. I think that kind of helped them out a little bit here as well. If we kept it as multiple of 5, where they were before, well, in the beginning of the 2022, multiply that by 5, and you're getting, what is that, 70 million shares diluted roughly, if that's the case. So they would have been the highest one that diluted based on that. But since they did a reverse split, 5-1, we're looking at 14.4 million shares. Now, couple things to note here. Marathon, Riot, Hut 8 held on to a lot of the Bitcoin that they mined during that period, and that's why we're seeing a lot more dilution here for it. So I didn't include the ending results for the Bitcoins mined, Bitcoins held or HODLed for the end of the year and where they started. But I did include how much they created as far as Bitcoin during that 12 months period of time. Next, take a look at the starting hash rate and the ending hash rate. So CleanSpark was at 2 exahash roughly. They ended up at 6.2 exahash. That was an increase of 4.1 exahash. Bitfarms was at 2.3. They ended at 4.5. That was a 2.1 exahash increase. Marathon was at 3.4. They ended the year at 7 exahash. That was a 3.5 exahash increase. Riot was at 3.4. They ended at 9.7. That was a 6.24. Hut 8 was at 2.1. They ended the year at 2.5. 2.5 is mainly because they had 3.2 exahash at the end, almost at the end of November. But then I think it was the North Bay facility got shut down because they're having a dispute with the electricity provider. So that got them down to 2.5. It's kind of what I'm using. We can put in the 3272 that they had in there just to see how it would actually affect them. And they improved by 365 petahash. Hut also was mining Ethereum for almost 9 months in 2022, along with Hive. They had a lot of hash rate that was added to that as well. That helped them out tremendously, but that obviously ended at the end of September, middle of September, when Ethereum went to proof of stake from proof of work. And that's why we're seeing a pretty small increase here from both of these guys, because they were heavily invested in Ethereum mining. Okay, so that's something to note. So Hut increased by 365 petahash, Hive only 193 petahash. So then when we take the shares dilution per petahash, what do we get for it? Well, with CleanSpark, we got basically 7,311 shares diluted per petahash installed. So 1 petahash, they diluted 7.3 thousand shares. Bitfarms diluted 13.5 thousand shares per petahash. Marathon 12.1 per thousand petahash, or 12.1 thousand per petahash. Shares. Riot 8.1, Hut 8 at 139,000, and then Hive at 74.8 thousand per petahash. So obviously these guys diluted the most based on the little growth that they had here. But like I said, Hut, Riot, and Marathon did a lot of HODL in that year. They have since started selling in this year. That's kind of what we're looking at here right now. So based on this information, we can see here that the one that actually diluted the least per petahash is CleanSpark. CleanSpark was number 1, Riot at number 2, Marathon came in at number 3, Bitfarms at number 4 spot, Hive came in at number 5 spot, and then Hut 8 came in last. But if we actually, let's see here, let's take Hut 8 up to the ending that they were at. They still have the miners and everything else. They just need to get installed someplace else, get those energized. But if we put that in as 3272, you can see now that Hut 8 actually would have diluted less than Hive for that period. So Hive would have been the one that's diluted the most for that time frame. Okay. Next, when we're looking at BTC mined here for all of these companies for the year of 2022, we have Hut 8 at 3,568 Bitcoins, Hive at 4,752, Bitfarms 5,168, Marathon 4,144, Riot 5,536, CleanSpark 4,621. And then if we take the dilution per BTC, we get these numbers here. Let's do these descending or ascending. Actually, we'll do this. So Hive actually diluted, looks like the least per BTC mined. But remember, they were also mining Ethereum, which was very, very profitable for them for 9 months out of the year. That helped them out tremendously. Bitfarms came in second at 5,688 shares. CleanSpark third, 6,551. Riot, 9,213 shares per BTC. Riot also did a lot of curtailing. Marathon also had a lot of trouble during the year as well with their, I think it was Montana Hardin facility that went under, had storm damage and everything else. Riot also had storm damage done in, I think that was in January, not December though. So that affected them in this year, I believe. And then Hut 8 had 14,282 shares diluted per every single BTC mined for the year. So Hut 8 came in worst out of the bunch here for both, not only the hash rate increase dilution, but also the BTC mine dilution part of it, if you look at it that way. Now, like I said, Hut 8 hodled a lot of BTC, so that's the reason that their dilution is so big, is because they needed cash to pay operating expenses, and other things as well, along with Marathon and Riot. Riot was selling a portion of their BTC mines, so their dilution is a little bit less. Here you can see here that Riot actually comes in pretty well here in the hash rate increase per dilution. Their number 2 spot here, which is pretty good, but then in the other one, they came in 4th spot, so it's still not too bad. But Marathon has diluted quite a bit here as well, so they're towards the end of the list here, I guess you could say. Okay, so I thought it was just kind of interesting just to point out what investors got actually for the dilution that we saw here. And like I said, right now it looks like CleanSpark came in number 1, at least for hash rate increase and dilution on that, but they didn't hodl a lot. They sold a lot of their Bitcoins as they were mining it to fund operations, to fund growth, to buy facilities, to buy miners at really good prices as well. Bitfarms did the same thing. They had a pretty large hodl position at the beginning of 2022, but they also staked it, or not staked it, they had it, their BTC backed by loans backed by BTC. They had to end up selling it as Bitcoin went down in the year, so they sold a lot. They would have been in a lot better position as well. They learned a pretty expensive lesson on that one. Riot sold a little bit in the year as well. Marathon pretty much hodled everything. Hut 8 hodled everything. Hive did a kind of hybrid a little bit, sold some, held on to some as well. So let me know what you guys think of this, if you guys agreed or don't agree with this, and then does this also sway you in one direction or another for any of the miners? Okay? As always, not financial advice. Do your own research on this, okay? Next, let's take a look at the performance of Bitcoin and the miners for this past week, and we'll call it a day. So if we look at the weekly here, we can see we got 2 charts here. The green chart is how much the miners are up from their 52-week lows. The red bars are how far away the miners are from their 52-week highs right now. So that's rolling number each week. We get kind of a little bit different number based on where the price of Bitcoin was 52 weeks ago, or where the miners were 52 weeks ago. Okay, so Mawson is up 189%, TeraWulf is up 44%, BitDigital is up 164%, CleanSpark up 54%, Riot is up 165%, Sphere is up 50%, Bitfarms up 144%, DMG up 142%, Hive is up 129%, Bitcoin's up 76%, Iris Energy is up 187%, Marathon's 151%, Hut 8 is 123%, Argo is up 330%, Cypher is up 460%, DigiHost up 374%, and Core Scientific is up 641%. Core Scientific obviously got shellacked pretty hard here when they went into bankruptcy, Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They're restructuring right now. We'll see if they can get out of that possibly sometime this year, depending where Bitcoin goes in price. But that's the reason why they're up so much right now, because they bottomed out at like 8 cents, 6 cents, something like that this year. But they've since gone up to like 30-some cents right now. Okay, next on the bottom chart, how far the miners are away from the 52-week highs. So Mawson's away 90%, TeraWulf is 91%, BitDigital is 66%, CleanSpark is 80%, Riot is 63%, Sphere is up away 87%, Bitfarms 79%, DMG up away 63%, Hive 73%, Bitcoin 42%, Iris 81%, Marathon 76%, Hut 8 74%, Argo 85%, Cypher 45% away, DigiHost 63%, and Core Scientific is still 96% away from their all-time high, but they're still up 641%. All right, okay. Now, as far as how the miners did for this week here, let's take a look at the chart here. We can see that Bitcoin was up, and I track Bitcoin from Friday to Friday. So Bitcoin's went down a little bit more over the weekend, and well, I had a really good run last weekend, pumped it up really good. So I think Bitcoin right now is going to be probably in the negative for the week, if I'm not mistaken here. Let's take a look at it. On the regular chart, yeah. So on the regular chart, it looks like it's going to be down approximately, let's see here, 1% roughly right now, depending where Bitcoin ends up today. But I'm using Friday to Friday. So Bitcoin for me was actually up 0.25% on the week. Hive was up 2.3, DMG was up 2.6, Bitfarms was up 4.3, Sphere was up 5.45, Riot was up 6.5, CleanSpark was up 9.8, BitDigital up 10, TeraWulf up 27, Mawson up 35. So those guys did better than Bitcoin. These companies did worse this week. Iris, Marathon, Hut 8, Argo, Cypher, DigiHost, and Core Scientific being down the most, 16.71%. Let's take a look at the 4 weeks chart as well. And here we go. We can see that Bitcoin is actually up from 4 weeks ago, 22.94%. These companies did better. Cypher is up 32, Mawson's up 35, Riot is up 36. And then these companies did worse, pretty close to Bitcoin was Marathon. TeraWulf was down 20%, no, not down, 20% up. DigiHost 13, almost 14. Hive is 13. BitDigital 13, Iris 12, Hut 11, DMG 8, CleanSpark 5, Bitfarms 4. Argo is actually down 4.9. Sphere is down 7.2, and Core Scientific is down 17% from that. Looking at the 8 weeks chart as well, we can see here that, let's go down here. Bitcoin was up actually 17.25% from 8 weeks ago. Riot did better at 26%, Iris 30%, and then these companies did worse. Cypher only up 16, TeraWulf up 14, Marathon up 10, and then the following companies have done the worst. And CleanSpark here looks like it's done the worst out of the 8 weeks. But one of the things that we've learned about CleanSpark is that Mawson, the facility that CleanSpark bought from them in Georgia, they had, I think, roughly around 1 million shares of it. They sold 90% of their shares, it looks like within the last possibly 3 months or something like that. Around somewhere around this time, 3 to 4 months, whenever they got the shares for that facility, and they sold 90% of those. I think that's had a huge sell pressure on CleanSpark. I think that's why it might have been underperforming here compared to the other miners here. That could be just my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys think on that. Okay, so we can see here that these guys did worse. And then finally, the 12 weeks, if we look at that really quick as well, and we'll call it a day here, we can see that on the 12 weeks, Bitcoin is actually up 62.18%. So that's pretty good there. Bitfarms up 68, so Bitfarms did better. Hive is up 71%, DMG 83, Hut is up 90, Marathon's up 90, BitDigital is up 91, Riot is up 101, Iris 128, Cypher 177, DigiHost 185, Core Scientific up 334% from 12 weeks ago. And then these companies have done worse. Mawson 41%, Sphere 3D 30%, CleanSpark 28%, TeraWulf 14%, and Argo only 9% from 12 weeks ago. Okay, and then we can see this nice little heat map here, how every week has played out so far. So we've had a really good week last week, the prior week. This week wasn't too bad. We had a lot of them that were still in the green. We had kind of like half and half, it looks like, were in the red and green. Prior to that, we had 3 weeks of red here. This was in, towards the end of February and early March. We had a pretty good week here in middle of February. January was really good for us, and the beginning it was as well. So we'll see how this is going to play out going forward. I think we're still relatively early into this bull run. We're still going to have some ups and downs. We're still going to have some highs. We're going to also have some lows, and it's just going to play out that way, I think, for pretty much the rest of the first half, I think, at least. Once the Fed starts lowering or at least pausing on interest rate hikes, I think at that point, that's when we'll get more risk on assets getting some much needed love. And then things should, in second half, go up nicely here. Then once we get into closer into the halving event coming in 2024, that's when we're really going to get the bull run, I think. And at that point, I'm thinking Bitcoin will probably be between 160 to 200,000 at the new all-time high, but we'll see where it goes. Okay. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, the spreadsheet is available to my Patreon members there, so all of those are available to them. Thank you to everyone there for their continued support. That's only $4 a month if you're interested. And I'll see you guys in the next one, which will be tomorrow possibly. But let me know what you guys thought of all of this data here and on the dilution part of it as well. Look forward to you guys' comments in there. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.